if West Indies Test captain Kraigg Braithwaite recommendation should be taken, then the next West Indies coach would not be the person with the best skill set and management skill, but it will be the person who understands our culture best. According to Kraigg Braithwaite, the next cricket coach must understand the culture of West Indies. I think this comment is ill-advised and it's rubbish. Hello everyone and welcome to the Cricket Forum. Thank you for tuning in and I do hope that you're having a fantastic day. I got up this morning and was reading as usual. And then I met up on an article from Australia where Kraigg Braithwaite was giving an interview. I quote him in part. I think that's the main thing. Someone understanding the culture of West India. When asked about the criteria for the next coach, this was in part Kraigg Braithwaite replied. The culture, not the skill set, not the management skill, not the motivational skill, but the culture. The person must understand the culture of West Indies cricket. Now, here's Braithwaite. I think he was referring to Phil Simon. When he had to be, because it's always important to push the guys. When we come together, it's important as a group that we really put in that work. And he really drove us. He really drove that. Now, my first instinct on reading this comment is that Kraigg Braithwaite don't believe what he said. If Kraigg Braithwaite believe this statement, West Indies cricket is in more crisis than we can ever imagine if Kraigg Braithwaite believed this statement. If this reflects the mindset of the West Indian cricketers, our situation is real bad. And as my grandmother would say, dog nyam our supper. Because there's no way somebody who's serious about hard work could look at what the West Indies team do when they are training, their pre-match warm-up practice, or on that cricket field. Do they look like a team that is working hard and being driven by a coach? I can't understand that statement. This is a statement came about because the West Indies public is pushing back at the performance and the lackadaisical attitude of the West Indies players. It's because we are pushing back and they are putting out this public relations stunt. This a public relations stunt, and they think we are gullible enough to believe this rubbish public relation publication. It is rubbish. There's no way, and there's no one who can tell me that this West Indies cricket team is a hard-working team. And if what they are doing, that they believe that what they are doing is hard work, West Indies cricket is in crisis, as I said, a greater crisis than we all thought. Because Which one of us? Which one of us believe that this team is a hard-working team? And he goes on to say, I think that's the main thing. Someone understanding the culture of West Indians. So the next coach, he shouldn't be the coach with the best management skill. He shouldn't be the coach with the best technical skill. According to Kraigg Braithwaite, the next coach is someone who understands the culture of West Indian. What is that understanding? An understanding that it is player power that runs things. That's what Kraigg Braithwaite is asking the next coach to understand, that the players are the master of West Indies cricket. Is that the players are the ones who control West Indies cricket? Is that the culture that Kraigg Braithwaite is asking that the next coach understand? Is it the culture that Kraigg Braithwaite is asking that the next coach understand? Is that, look, when you come around West Indies cricket, if you should be appointed the next coach, don't push us too hard, because we don't used to be pushing too hard. And if you push us too hard, we are going to squeal. And when we squeal, you will get fire. Because you see, our work ethics is not so good enough. Our work ethics is laissez-faire. Our work ethics is poor. So you must understand that culture. You must understand that if you push us too hard, because we as the players have the power to get rid of you. So I'm telling you, you better understand this culture, because if you push us too hard, and if you raise the standard too high, and if you ask us to do things that get us out of our comfort zone, we are going to squeal and you are going to be fired. Is that the culture that Kraigg Braithwaite is saying that the next West Indies cricket coach must understand? Is it the culture that Kraigg Braithwaite is asking the new coach to understand? Is that West Indies players struggles with the basics of the game, and that you need to understand that we struggle with the basic of the game, and we cannot bat, we cannot bowl, we cannot field, but we accept an average for our batsmen of 35 and less. We cannot bowl out top quality teams. We can bowl out the Bangladesh and the Sri Lanka and the Afghanistan, but we cannot bowl out the Indians and the Australians. That's the culture that Kraigg Braithwaite is asking the new coach to understand? A culture of failure? What does Kraigg Braithwaite really means when he said that the new coach need to understand the culture of West Indian? Is that culture that Kraigg Braithwaite is asking the new coach to understand? Is that when we have a meeting and we set training session for 8 o'clock the next morning, although you told all of us that training session is 8 o'clock the next morning, you still have to come and knock on our door to get up out of our bed? Is that the culture? Is that the culture that West Indies cricket is going to persist with? Is that what he's asking the new coach to accept? That although training is set, listen to me, we know that training is set, but if you want us to come to training, you have to come and knock on our door, because we, the players, are the most powerful thing in West Indies cricket. And if you don't suck up to us, and if you don't come and knock on our door, and if you behave too strict and too stern and too formal and your standards are too high, we are going to squeal. We are going to say you're not good. And then you will be fired. So I'm telling you, our culture is you need to come and knock on our door, although you set the time for training. And you must realize that when we reach training, we laser fear and we just go on with our little things in our own time, and there's no intensity to our training. You must understand that that's our training. We are cavalier in our approach. So we do not train in a time-sensitive way, or we do not train with intensity or passion. That's our culture. That is what Kraigg Braithwaite is asking the new coach to understand. Kraigg Braithwaite is asking that the new coach understand that when we when we reach in late in the morning before a match, that is the culture. You would have heard the story that happened in Australia. Yes, it took place in Australia when a physical trainer, some of the guests at the hotel room, at the hotel that the team was staying, not on the store. Some of the guests at the hotel that the team was staying saw the physical trainer of the team. I won't call the physical trainer name. I won't tell you which year because you'll know the physical trainer. And he saw the physical trainer and he said, oh, your boys are very disciplined. They are out very early training. That was like in the twilight, in the morning twilight. They are out very early training. So the physical trainer was puzzled. And when he went to investigate, he realized that they were not wearing the proper footwear. And he said to himself, why are they running without the proper footwear? But upon further investigation, he realized that they were just returning from a night out, although they have a match starting at 10 o'clock. Is that the culture that Kraigg Braithwaite is saying that the new coach should understand? Because I really want to get an understanding of what culture Kraigg Braithwaite is asking the new coach to understand. Will someone please help me and tell me what is the culture that Kraigg Braithwaite is trying to get the new coach to understand? Is it that the culture that Kraigg Braithwaite is trying to get the new coach to understand is that sometimes the players that you are going to pick is not necessarily the best players, but because election is coming up in a year time, you need to pick a player from every region because the administration need votes from every region to maintain their position. Is that the culture that Kraigg Braithwaite is saying that the new coach should understand? Is it that Kraigg Braithwaite is saying, look, you don't always can pick the best player? Because if you drop a man from X territory or X country, then squealing will be coming from that territory and people will lose their position of directors at Cricket West Indies. Is that the culture that Kraigg Braithwaite is asking the new coach to understand? Is it the culture that Kraigg Braithwaite is asking the new coach to understand? Is that the team does not have a sponsor on the front of their shirt? And is it that Kraigg Braithwaite is saying that we are okay with this? The new coach must understand that we lose more than we win. So we do not have a culture of winning. We have a culture of losing. Is that what Kraigg Braithwaite is asking the new coach to understand? Is that what West Indies cricket has gone to? Where the next coach will not necessarily be the best man for the job, but it will be the man who understands West Indies cricket and West Indian cultures best. Is that who we want for our coach? But I want to tell Kraigg Braithwaite, and I hope Cricket West Indies is listening, but the next coach should be the coach that has the backing of Cricket West Indies to send home the mediocre players. The next coach should have the backing of Cricket West Indies, so that when a player don't live up to the standard of that coach, when a player turn up for training late, when the coach instruct the player to do a task and the player in Jamaican terms lay and don't carry it out with the intensity and the time frame that it should be carried on, the next coach should have the backing of the West Indies that he can discipline that player. That is the type of coach you want, who will have the backing of the West Indies. We want a coach who will see that the team start winning. That's what the culture we want the next coach to understand, that we, the supporters, want a West Indies team that start winning. We, the supporters, want a coach that have the best technical and man management skill. We don't want a coach who understand the culture of West Indian more than having the man management and the technical skill to make the team start winning. And I want the coach to understand. I want the next coach of Cricket West Indies to understand that whatsoever he does, he must be transparent. He must be transparent. He must record, he must video record as many meetings as possible. There are some meetings when it comes to tactical things that you would not want to be on record. But as many meetings as possible, when you're talking to these guys, I am telling him, when you're talking to these guys, if you can record it, record it. Because if you comes in as a coach with very high standards and you set those standards high, you are going to get pushback because these guys don't want to work hard. I remember an Australian netball coach came to Jamaica to work with the Jamaica netball team. And after a week, most of the girls were squealing and saying all manner of things about the lady. And I know those things were not true, but they squeal. No, the things that they were saying about the lady, there's no way no human being could behave that way and be successful and reach where they reach. And so this coach, he comes in with his high standard. He must be transparent and he must realize that whatsoever he does, at least 30% of the West Indies population are not going to agree with what he does. But he must be firm, he must be fair, and he must be strong, and he must have high standards. Basically, we want a coach that is going to break up the dolly house that is presently happening in West Indies cricket. Because right now, West Indies cricket is like a dolly house. It's the players that run things, and here the captain is saying that we want a coach that understands the culture, that understands that we, the players, run things, that we, the players, are laid back, that we, the players, don't turn up for training on time. We, the players, are satisfied with a 35 and lower batting average. That's what Kraigg Braithwaite is saying, that the next coach must understand and accept. Rubbish. I don't know how many of you accept that, but I certainly don't. Because I want a coach to raise the bar. I want to have a coach to have these guys working at international standard. Are you satisfied with the way the West Indies team look on the field? Even if they're losing, let me tell you something about winning and losing. You see, one thing, even if you are losing, the opposition must not outwork you. They must not outwork you. I saw in the match between India and Bangladesh that is going on now, these Bangladeshi, they run down every ball to the boundary. Our West Indians, we turn and look first and decide whether we can catch it or not before we jog off it. Is that the culture that Kraigg Braithwaite is asking the next coach to understand? It won't happen, Kraigg Braithwaite. It won't happen. A new day is dawning in West Indies cricket, and you guys will have to wake up and smell the coffee, else you won't have any place in West Indies cricket not long from now. Because let me tell you, after you are gone and after you stop playing in a few years, West Indies cricket will still be here, and we have to protect the integrity of West Indies cricket. So if you want a coach to understand that the dolly house that is currently going on in West Indies cricket, not going to happen. It's not going to happen, Kraigg Braithwaite. It's not going to happen. Let me view some of your comments. Kraigg basically saying he wants the coach to be his friend. Madness. You put it absolutely right, Salisha. Madness. That must stop. The West Indies have no problem. Culture, don't bother about it. Culture, and that's how they play cricket. Even IPL contract cannot motivate some players to change their attitude. That's what I can't understand. Super, these players do not use their common sense when batting. Yusuf Greenwich, how you doing? I'm so disappointed in Kraigg Braithwaite. Me too. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I can't understand. I wonder what he means by East Indies culture. Because for the last 20 years, it's been a culture of losing. Supernova 22, I'm telling you. If I was beside you, I'd buy you a drink. Because the only culture that I know about is a culture of losing. Read that interview. Kraigg Braithwaite actually said that Phil Simmons was doing a good job. And the statement that bothers me more than all is this first one here. Is this one. This is the one that bothers me more than all. He said, think he was turned. Phil Simmons was turned. We have never seen that. We have never seen that. What he said, when we come together, it's important as a group that we really put in that work, and he really drove us. When I'm asking the question, I asked it at the beginning of the video, and I'm asking it again. Do any of you have ever been to a West Indies training session? Have you ever been to the West Indies pre-match warm-up? Have you ever seen the West Indies team after a match cooling down? Or do they do these things with any intensity? Let me tell you something. In the match between India and Bangladesh that is presently going on, the second day ends this morning, and the first day, which was Tuesday night our time, Kohli made one. You know what Kohli did when he got out during the break? He went to the nets. He went to the nets to train. Do you ever watch a cricket match involving the West Indies and any of our players ever go training during that match? But when we watch the other teams, we see their players going to net session during the match. Our players are lazy. They sat on their backside, and that is the culture that the new coach should understand. Somebody talk to me. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe I don't quite understand. And as I said, if Kraigg Braithwaite believes that they are being pushed hard, we are in serious crisis. Because they are not being pushed. They are not even rolling. My grandmother can move faster than some of these guys. And they are talking about being pushed. Push where? This is a statement. More than the... And this, my friends, this, community, is a public relations stunt. And they think we are gullible to accept such a statement. But they must know that we are not gullible. This is a spin doctor published, trying to spin the reality because they are now feeling the pressure of our pushback. This is a spin doctor. Please slash a like on the video, share, and click on that subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner. But this is a pushback. This is a pushback. They're trying to spin and think that we are not sensible, think we are fools and gullible to accept this public relations stunt. I can't believe Salisa says, Salisa, you cannot get more transparent than Simmons. Simmons was very transparent. Okay. Sheldon Smith. What happened when Simmons told the Guyanese player to continue their fitness after a camp? No, those are pretty talk, Sheldon. Those are pretty talk. I'm telling you, a public relations stunt, that, Sheldon. Pretty talk. They need a coach who comely like or longer like. That is my point, Salisa. Especially longer. I will go for longer any day. I will go for longer any day. Please, click on the links in the description and get yourself a nice watch for your as a gift for yourself. You need to buy yourself a Christmas gift. So click on the link in the description and you see some nice watches there that you can buy for yourself. I am talking about a coach who has to be stern and hold players accountable at all times. He is too friendly. Yes, Salisa, I know that you are being sarcastic. That is so true. That is so true. And that is why I said earlier that the new coach needs to video record. He needs to record as many as possible meetings that he can. I understand that the tactical meetings cannot be recorded. But when he's talking to the players in general meetings and so on, and setting down his standards and his rules and what he expects of the players, he needs to record it. Because if he raised the bar too high, if his standard is too high, these players will start complaining. But when he have those recordings and able to publish those recordings, and we, the public, see those recordings and see that is rubbish the players are talking, that what the standard that the coach is setting and what the coach is saying is fair, then the pressure will go back on the players. Because what they do, they know that they have their different boards to back them. So when they step out of line, when they behave with their mediocrity self, when they behave at their low standards, when they have to report to training 8 o'clock and at 8 o'clock they're still in their hotel room, they find all sorts of excuses and say all sorts of things about the coach if he complains or if he disciplines them. And that is why the coach is going to need the backing of the West Indies and the West Indies community. And that's why he's going to need to record as much as possible and take notes as much as possible. Because these players, they're not going to want to raise their standard. They're not. And they're going to find excuses upon excuses, and they are going to try to get the coach fired if the coach is not one of them. And when I mean one of them, he's not sucking up to them. And so we need such a coach. However, we need to realize it's nearly 2023. In this day and age, if players are constantly told something they don't like and are pushed too hard, they will revolt against the coach and strike. And that is why I'm saying, Supernova, good point to make. But we know the level. We know the level in a Supernova. We know what is mediocrity. We know what is regional standard. We know that what is international standard. Right now, as Ricky Ponting saying, we are not even at club level. So I'm saying revolt and strike if it is above international standard, if we are cruel. There's a difference between international standard and cruelty. But at this time, the West Indies team is not at club level. We need to reach club level first with our intensity and then push on with our intensity to regional level. and then push down from regional level to international level with our intensity. Even if we can bat, bowl, and field, a team should not outwork us. We should be able to run hard, and we should be able to work hard, and we should be able to play the game with intensity. I'm not asking about cruelty. If they revolt, go your way. Go your way. Remember that when the players strike, West Indies still assembly another squad. There are players who will always be here. And when these players are gone, West Indies cricket will still be here. So if they want to revolt and strike because we're trying to raise the bar to international standards, let them go. West Indies cricket is bigger than any player who want to strike and revolt. If we want to we are asking them to perform at an international standard. We are not asking for a coach who's going to be cruel and inhumane. And that's why I mentioned management skills. We want the coach with the best management skills. And that's why I mentioned that. I'm not asking the coach to be inhumane. I'm not asking him to be cruel and to be a slave driver. What I'm asking is that the players stepped up to international standard. And if in pushing them to step up to international standard, and they think that they are not prepared to work so hard, they need to go, because West Indies cricket is bigger than them. And that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. Not cruelty, not inhumane treatment. I'm talking about raise the bar to international standard. That's what I'm talking about. The next set of persons who I really need to talk to, I really need to talk about them. Because they have played 5 matches so far, and they have not come close to winning one. And last night, against England women again, they lost. 141 for 6. West Indies in replied, 125 for 8. And before I said anything about the West Indies women team, and I'm going to send an email to West Indies cricket when I'm finished. And before I take on these girls, I'm going to dangle a carrot. Any West Indies batswoman, Ailey Matthews is not a part of this. Ailey Matthews is not in this. But any West Indies batswoman who score 50 in any one of the 2 remaining matches, the cricket forum is going to give them $300. I'm trying to incentivize them first before I take them on. I'm going to dangle a carrot first. So the cricket forum is prepared to give any West Indies batswoman except Ailey Matthews who makes a 50 in any one of the 2 remaining T20 internationals against England. The cricket forum will send them $300. I'm going to send an email to Cricket West Indies. The next match that is going on is India versus Bangladesh. India 404 all out, Bangladesh 133 for 8. And as you see, and as I said, Kohli made 1. And when Kohli made the 1, what he did? He went to the net straight away. Straight away, our West Indian batsman. Kohli is averaging 50 odd in Test cricket. Our top West Indies batsman is averaging 38. That is Bonner as the highest average. Kraigg Braithwaite is 35, is next. And Kohli, who is averaging 50 odd, made 1 in a match, and he went to the nets. Same place, same day. Oh, that is the culture that I want our batsmen to accept. Kane Williamson has stepped down as New Zealand captain as a test team. He will continue to captain the ODI team and the T20 team. He will continue to captain the white ball team. But after 6 years, Kane Williamson has stepped down as captain of New Zealand test team. Tim Southee has been named captain for the team and their tour of Pakistan. There's a tour of Pakistan coming up later this month, and Tim Southee has been appointed captain for that tour alone. So Kane Williams, he has captained 40 tests as a New Zealander. 40 tests. He have won 22 of those, last 10, drawn 8. During his time as captain, his average was 57 and he scored 11 centuries. And you remember last year, New Zealand won the World Test Championship. So Ken Williams have stepped down as captain of West Indies Test team. Please slash a like on the video and share and click on that subscription button in the bottom right-hand corner. And remember, there are some wonderful watches that you can get as present and so on, and buy your loved ones as present. There are some links in the description. Please click on those links. I will take your comments to end the show. CWI should not get involved in selections. But they do. They do. And you heard Older said that one of the reasons why he doesn't want to captain the team again is that because he's not always allowed to pick the best players. Last night was the best performance out of all 5. If they aren't careful, they could get whitewashed 8-0 at home. That is true, Supernova. And that's why I'm offering them the incentive. Except any one of the batsmen, except Ailey Matthews, that score a half century, Cricket Forum will give them $300. And I'm saying it publicly here. Everybody can hear. Some players and a lot of our cricket supporters saying money is the issue. But the T20 players who getting lots of money are getting worse and worse and worse as players. So money is not the issue. That is so true. And you wonder, Salisha Mohammed, these guys, I always say, the Kohli and the Pant and the Dhoni and you name it, and the Joss Butler and those guys are getting far more money than what the West Indian players are getting. Far more. But yet still those guys continue to work hard. So I don't know. Is it, my grandmother used to say, no used to come see her, something like that. You know, used to it and then you come see it and you turn fool or something like that. Is that these guys who grow up in less than ideal condition all of a sudden now have this lots of money, and all of a sudden they think that they should stop working hard, but they never used to work hard in the first place. They never used to work hard. And Carl Hooper said it, that when he was a member of the West Indies team, he only worked hard when he's almost going to get dropped. So you are right, Salisa Mohammed. You are right. We knew that Lara would have good day when he saw him in the nets before play or during sessions. Yes, Sheldon, that is true. That is true. That is true. Simmons was fired the first time for saying that the board was to involve in team selection. That is true. We know that the board is involved in team selection, and that's what I'm saying. That is that part of the culture that Kraigg Braithwaite wants the new coach to accept, that the board is involved in team selection. Is that part of the culture? We can't accept that. We'll definitely check the links, Mr. Cricket Forum. Thank you, Salisa Mohammed. Thank you, Juna Davis. Never see, come see. Right. Thank you for the quote. Never see, come see. Yeah, that's the quote that my grandmother used to use. Is it that, Salisa Mohammed, that's what they're saying? Never see, come see? Well, please, slash a like on the video. Please, like and click that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. May you all have a great day, and thank you for tuning in. See you in the morning. Take care now.